Hey guys, Elizabeth, curly-haired country gal. So again, I have a little bit of catching up to do. I was hoping to put a video out every day for 24 days to log healthy eating, what we try to do normally, what I try to do normally, but specifically if I'm trying to get to a healthier weight. So I missed the past couple days, so I'm doing a little bit of catching up. Today, I have 3 topics to tell you about. One is fruit, one is movement, and one is journaling. Here we go. So on this Weston A. Price food pyramid, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but this is not officially endorsed by the Weston A. Price Foundation. This is something that somebody else put together. I think I'll put that link down below. But in this Healthy for Life book, vegetables and fruit are listed together. So they're both kind of on the same rung, I guess you could say. But they do have a lot more sugar, which I think is why they're put higher on the food pyramid as something to eat less often. But similar to fruit, there are some that are great to eat raw, like the ones that are mentioned here. Bananas, pineapple, papaya, etc. And then some are better eaten a little bit cooked because it's easier to digest. Apple, pears, peaches, etc. But like it says on the triangle, eat it with fat. So the way that we sometimes do this, not always, is to whip cream, so make whipped cream and dip the fruit in that, and that makes it delicious, just with maybe a tiny bit of honey, if any. So the second thing I wanted to talk about today was movement. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm getting outside, doing some movement. In the past, I was way more interested in using weights and watching workout videos or doing certain kinds of dancing to exercise, and it was very intentional and very kind of structured, I guess. I've moved way far away from that, to my surprise, in just the past couple of years. A friend of mine, Julia, told me about a book and a podcast she was listening to where the encouragement was to incorporate your movement in your daily activities, to rely on convenient tools less, like for example a blender, a grinder that you can grind up your flour with and grind it by hand, and just everyday tasks, squatting down for things, seeing those pieces of movement as part of your movement, your exercise for the day, and not and just making it very ergonomic, I guess, or logical with what your body's already doing. This reminds me of something that I mentioned at the Weston A. Price, in the Weston A. Price reflection video, where somebody was talking about just doing simple movements like raising and lowering your arms, movements that you're gonna need to do your whole life, and just doing more of them than you need to, like way more, and have that be your movement. So I've been doing a little bit of that. I just while I'm walking, I'll incorporate, lunges, or maybe squats or things like that, movements that I know I'm gonna need during my life. And I suppose I do lift some weight, and I probably will lift some weight for all of my life, but curling things, you don't really do that naturally. So that's not really something I try to do a lot. I used to run quite a bit, and it was very much to lose weight, and I don't really do that as much anymore. I do a lot more walking. So anyway, that's kind of what I do for my movement. And then last but not least, I wanted to talk about journaling. This is a huge part of my health because my mental health, everybody's, my mental health ties in so closely to my physical health. As I'm sure you can attest, if you're feeling really stressed and not turning to the Lord with those lie-based beliefs, then a lot of times I turn to food, and maybe you do too. So if I don't have those negative emotions in the first place, then I don't tend to overdo it. So journaling is something that sometimes I get in the habit of only going to journaling when I'm upset and I feel like I need it, which is sometimes how we treat God. But more and more I'm trying to just work journaling into my daily routine, and it makes a really big impact. I think even Jordan Peterson, I think I heard him say recently that just writing out your thoughts can be an extremely healthy and helpful thing to do. So this is the journal that I currently have, and it's got a bookmark in it. It's almost full, so I'm gonna have to think about getting a new one pretty soon. Do you journal? I would love to hear. I would also love to hear what you do for movement, if it's more structured or if you've gotten away from that like I have. I'm curious. So if somebody were to try to get to know me just by reading my journal, they would probably think that I'm like a raging, always angry, selfish person. And that's because, again, a lot of the times my journal absorbs a lot of the anger, whether it's written or poked by a pen or something, which thankfully is not poured out on my husband or my kids or my friends. But again, more especially recently, if somebody were reading my journal, they'd get a little bit more of a well-rounded view of who I am. I just try to check in every day, and my journal also becomes a drawing book for my kids. I love you, Mom. From Olivia. I would not do wrong things to you. And that's me and Olivia. So Jared hates writing things out, so he would not be somebody who would get into journaling. But for most people, even for Jared, I would recommend trying it. You know, it never hurts, and sometimes it's nice to get your thoughts out on papers. And I write out my prayers to the Lord in the morning. So that is day 19 of 24 days of health. Getting close to the end.